All right. Good evening. Good evening. I think I'm live. Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. I was going to wear my New Year hat, but I couldn't find it. I know where it is, but I just didn't have time to dig it out of the top of my closet. That's where it is. And hey, I hope you had a great New Year's Eve, and I hope that the beginning of January is starting off great for you. It's always a good time to just kind of hit the reset button, and have a fresh start. And so I hope that I can share some things that will be helpful to you this evening. And so if you're watching live, if you could say hi in the chat, that would be great. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're not a football fan, you're not watching the Rose Bowl right now. um, uh, I wasn't going to do a live tonight, but last Monday was Christmas, and so I didn't want to miss two in a row. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about ADHD and goals and all that good stuff, because I have kind of a little different philosophy on that, if you will. So if you are watching the replay, which I think a lot of you will be, then just say hashtag replay. Let me know. And like I said, we're going to talk a little bit. This time of year, everybody's talking about New Year's resolutions. Well, I think New Year's resolutions don't work for people with ADHD. And it's not because we can't accomplish things, but because the whole idea of the resolution just doesn't work with our brain, our neurodiverse brain. And so I want you to, I'm just challenging you to think a little differently. Some people will set New Year's resolutions to lose weight, or get in shape. And then they just do it, and they've just got their willpower and their self-discipline. They don't have ADHD. It's not the same for us. And it's not to say that we can't achieve meaningful, positive change, because in my coaching program, I've seen that happen with people. It just means that you have to approach things differently. And I think that's why it's so important to understand how ADHD is affecting you, because it doesn't have to hold you back. But it's like clockwork, the end of another year, and you've got this pressure, I guess social pressure or whatever, with all the shoulds, the coulds, and wanting to change, wishing, vowing this year's going to be different. I know I can do it. And then, let's go to the losing weight. Let's say, so you sign up for the gym membership. Gyms say that January is their biggest spike in gym memberships, but they don't last, or maybe, I don't know, you take some kind of yoga retreat or Zumba dance class or something, you go out and you buy the sneakers and workout gear, and you've got great intentions, right? But then it happens, you get busy, you don't manage your time well, and you don't really have time for that class. You're working late, you forget about dinner, your knees hurt or whatever. You don't even have enough energy left to do what you need to do at the end of the day. And you're frazzled and frantic and frustrated. And, it ends up, your resolution is dying, right? The workout's not happening. But the pressure's on to pick something to work on this time of year. And the holiday tradition usually does not make any allowances for ADHD. So, New Year's resolutions, excuse me, excuse me. They usually ask me to do things that my ADHD brain makes incredibly difficult. And maybe is that setting me up for failure? I don't know. Maybe. Hey, let me check. Let me do a little tech check here, because I didn't do that. And I want to make sure before I get too far into this that I am actually streaming where I'm supposed to be. Okay. I got to find my. Well, all right. Cool, cool. Okay. It looks like I am live. Hopefully, you can see me and hear me. I'm not really seeing a lot of uh, activity in the chat. I know there's a bowl game going on right now. But if you are watching live, if you could say hi in the chat, let me know that you are here. And if you're watching the replay, let me know that as well. but but here's my twist. I think it's better if you have ADHD to start new habits than to make New Year's resolutions. Because small habits consistently carried out over time has this compounding effect, and you'll end up reaching your goals without really having to focus on the goal that trying. So if you focus more on the actions that get you to the goal and deadlines, creating deadlines, sticking to deadlines, that's gonna be what moves the needle. Change is hard work. You know, and I want to change, really, I do. I want to be that person that, maybe let's go back to the losing weight. Maybe you want to be that person that wakes up early and puts on the cute workout outfit and arrives at the gym before sunrise, and you want to be that woman on the treadmill or that guy pumping iron and working up a sweat, but becoming that person is a whole different story. And I say I want to change, but the truth is I want to want it, if that makes sense. And if I don't want it enough to put in the effort that's required, then I don't see the results. So it's like I want the results, but I don't want to put in the effort. And I imagine you can relate. So maybe you dread consistency. Maybe when I said habit and consistency, you're like, oh my gosh, resolution, habit, routine, goal. Like maybe these are just words that just make your skin crawl. I don't know. But just the thought of doing the same thing every day can be excruciating if you have ADHD. And, we know that's ridiculous because we have habits. We brush our teeth and we don't think about that. We take a shower, prepare meals, maybe we drink coffee every morning. So we know it's possible to do the same thing every day. It just doesn't feel natural sometimes. But it may be true that routines are harder for a person with ADHD. But I would challenge you on this. Without routines, you're never going to reach your goal. Routines are a game changer for people with ADHD. Some ADHD traits make new behaviors more difficult to adopt. And change is hard work. As I said, habit forming change, it's hard work. It is. But I've got a few tips that might make it a little bit easier. The first thing is just to keep things simple. When you make a resolution to change something, it's almost always because there are benefits waiting for you on the other side, right? So you've got to go through that uncomfortable effort in order to get to the other side. So, if you're trying to lose weight, you might quite literally say to yourself, I'm willing to overcome and fight through the discomfort of doing what comes naturally to receive a benefit that will improve my life. They call that your big why, But even then, the typical resolution of exercising, eating healthier, all that stuff, that's too big. So, instead, I would challenge you to just pick 2 or 3 tiny habits to start this year. Maybe make the bed every day. Maybe wash the dishes before you go to bed. Maybe drink a certain amount of water every day. If you do those things every single day, then it forms a neural pathway in your brain where you don't even really have to think about it. you form and you keep that habit because the stress relief is worth the discomfort, right? So, a good way to make your resolutions last all year without getting bored is uh, is to keep it simple and make small resolutions that you know you can keep. Right? Babies don't learn to walk in an afternoon, and they slowly learn to stand up while they're holding on to the furniture. We've got two grandkids, and they came over on Saturday, and the littlest one just learned to walk, and she's so cute. But they learn it slowly, right? They hold on to the furniture, then they practice putting one foot in front of the other, and they do that over and over. They fall, they get back up, and they keep doing it until it feels natural. And sometimes we benefit by taking it slow too. It's easier to lose 5 pounds than 50 pounds. Maybe 10 minutes of exercise is more realistic than an hour. You know, a lot of people will, at this time of year, especially when it comes to health and fitness, they start pushing too hard right out at the gate. And then they hate it and they hurt themselves and then they never come back. So slow down and enjoy the movement. With ADHD, it's hard to find balance, right? Because usually if you're like most people with ADHD, you're all or nothing. You're in or you're out. You're love or you hate. And if you want a new habit to last, you've got to pause and practice moderating that back and forth energy. Now, the second tip is just to keep your expectations realistic. Don't they say dream big, and I get where they're coming from, people who say that, but dream real. Set if you set unrealistic goals, that really doesn't work in your favor because you're not going to achieve them, and then you're going to start with the negative self-talk. If you dream too big, too fast, then you sometimes end up feeling like a failure and you self-sabotage. So don't add another check mark to the list of things you've tried but you couldn't do. Instead, dream a little bit of a reach, but realistically. And then you can enjoy those moments of victory when they arrive instead of, excuse me, instead of like resolving to organize the whole house. Maybe you just create a habit of hanging your keys on the same hook every time you use them. Small thing, and that may sound like, well, that's not going to make a dent, but it does. Those little things add up. Small things like that done over and over become habits, and they have a compounding effect. Too big of a goal feels overwhelming, and it leads to self-sabotage. So another tip is to don't lose sight of the big picture. So yes, make your goal small, but don't lose sight of the big picture. Instead of saying, this year I'm going to lose 30 pounds, say this week I'm going to meal prep 3 nights a week or something like that. I'm going to take a certain number of steps. Good things happen when you step back and you think about why you want to get fit. Maybe you want to go on a vacation is coming up. Maybe you're like me, you got grandkids and you want to be able to run around with them. Maybe improving yourself for loved ones is an okay motivation. That can be an incredibly powerful motivation. So new habits are not that bad if you think about the benefits that you're going to receive. Giving up a cookie is, maybe you have a habit of eating a cookie every night or 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 cookies. And that may be a challenge until your blood tests come back with lower blood sugar, lower cholesterol levels. So you think about the prize, you think about the end results, and then you can push through the challenges. And, you know, along with that, get rid of denial. You know, ADHD cannot be your excuse. It's not a stop sign, it's a yield sign. Learn how to recognize and acknowledge your ADHD symptoms. And then your ability to work through the obstacles gets better. And if you need help with that, I am offering some incentives for people who want to join my group coaching program in the month of January. So I could really help you. If that's something that you are interested in, please reach out. Just let me know in the chat. I'll jump on Zoom with you this week and find out what you're struggling with and see if I can help. Um, you know, your ADHD, it, it it does prevent you from moving forward if you don't understand it. One of the things that I teach in my coaching program is how to work with the way your brain is wired instead of trying to fight against it. Denial is counterproductive. You know, ADHD is affecting you, whether you realize it or not, if you've got it. It is different for each person. So only you know how and when and where your ADHD shows up in your life. And you have to resolve to not let it stop you, you know? Another great tip is to get a partner. Um, you know, if you're joining an exercise class, do it with somebody. That's one of the great things about my group coaching program is that people are supportive of each other and hold each other accountable. But you know, you encourage each other and you hold each other accountable. And then you end up with that consistency for a long time. I know one of the ladies in my coaching program, her grandchild came to visit and was helping her get organized. So if your messy desk is out of control, get some help. You know, never be ashamed to ask for help. Another thing, you know, to kind of counteract that boredom that we're so against is create a little game with your brain. You know, sometimes you can actually fatigue your brain, and repeating the same behavior over and over feels like just this really boring chore sometimes. So you have to kind of change it up a little bit. To stick with the regular exercise regime, for example, maybe you go to a different class every week. You try something different. I know somebody who became an instructor, and knowing that there was a class full of people waiting for her was powerful motivation. She had to stick to it, right? She created that accountability. You know, to make a new habit stick, you have to find that something special that's kind of a sparks your interest. And when you can't find it, try doing it a different way. Do something new. You know, keep searching until you find something that kind of sparks your interest. And you know, follow your inspiration. It's easy to drop pounds when there's a wedding dress in your future or a high school reunion, you know, and you've got to think about your payoff on the other side. So there's just so much more I could say about that. But if you want to create a habit of getting up in the morning, for instance, then maybe you like to take pictures. You could take different pictures of the morning sunrise. I don't know, just something to make it new and different and novel. Stop beating yourself up. You know, I keep on hearing people listen to that little voice in their head, those false beliefs of the past. You know, I'll never finish anything. I'll love it and then I'll hate it and I'll give up. I'm going to quit too soon. I always do. You know, there's just this always, never. Those are or those kind of phrases that you say to yourself are not helpful. And they're inaccurate creations of what's going on in your psyche, really. So if you say those things to yourself for long enough, then you're going to think they're true. Just because you failed once doesn't mean that you'll fail every time. You don't have to believe every thought that passes through your mind. Just because it comes into your brain does not mean it's true. Stop and look at that thought and examine it and question it. Is it true? You're not a slob because you don't hang up your clothes every day. And you're not stupid when you forget to take in the dry cleaning and drive around with the clothes in your car for weeks at a time. Doesn't make you stupid. Every minute is an opportunity to do something different. So if you keep believing that you can't, then you won't. That's the bottom line there. When you have success, do something to acknowledge that. Benchmark your successes, not your failures. Don't go around saying, "Oh, I didn't do this. I failed on that." Instead, think about what you did do right. Because otherwise you're going to spend the majority of your day feeling like you never finish your to-do list. Instead of remembering the times that you did achieve your goals, remember the times, that you didn't achieve your goals, remember the times that you did. Instead of thinking of the failures, right? Because if you think about how difficult something is, it's going to stop you from even attempting it. And you end up wasting time complaining about how overwhelmed you feel or how hard it is to change. And you talk yourself out of trying a new challenge. So think about those times when you really, truly wanted to do something so badly that you made it happen no matter what. Those successes are your benchmark. And when the going gets tough, if you have ADHD, you get tougher because we're not quitters. People with ADHD, our brains just kind of loop. We usually don't quit. Anybody with ADHD will tell you that the daily frustration is painful to push through, but you can do it. Emotions, living in emotions is going to keep you stuck. You have to set a goal and face your battles head on and be consistent. And that means admitting that it's going to be hard, but that you're tough and you're driven and you're resilient enough to push through. You're strong. You can do it and you will do it. So kind of to sum it up, the key is consistency. Get over that initial discomfort and get started on the next right thing in front of you. Don't wait for motivation. That's a terrible strategy. It's not even a strategy because you're going to feel the motivation after you take the action. So who do you want to be 1 year from now? Start with that vision of your future self and then reverse engineer into smaller steps so there's no overwhelm. Small and simple. Look for the path of least resistance to get there. Don't overcomplicate things. Keep it simple. And it's always good to find somebody who's done it already and learn from them. And boy, I would love to talk to you this month about coaching. It has changed people's lives. And if you want someone to kind of walk alongside with you and help you build these new habits the first quarter of the year, then I would encourage you to let me know in the chat that you want to talk on Zoom. And let's do that. No obligation. You don't have to. If you decide it's not for you, it's not for you, but you'll never know. Even if you're just curious, I want to encourage you to do that. So I hope you have a wonderful New Year's night, and I hope you're not too hard on yourself this year. I hope that this is a year of less stress, more organization and productivity, and great prosperity for you in your relationships. I hope that you grow as a person, hope you grow spiritually, and I just wish you a very, very happy New Year. Bye-bye.